and welcome to this video on how to use the Cricut machines at your Chesapeake Public Library. My name is Nancy Lang. We have two types of machines at the Creative Spaces at your Dr. Clarence V. Coffey Outreach Innovation Library. We have a Cricut Maker 3 and two Cricut Explore Air machines. We will be using the Cricut Maker 3 for most of this demonstration video, but there are some differences between the two types. Both machines can be used to create thousands of projects. The Cricut Maker 3 allows you to cut some material without a mat, and it's twice as fast as the Air 2 machines when using Cricut Smart Materials. It is able to use more types of attachments. It can also cut some materials the Cricut Explore Air 2 machines cannot. The Cricut Explore Air 2 machines have a dial that can be set on 7 different types of materials, or set on custom to select materials not on the dial using the Design Space software. The power button is above the dial. There is an open button on the left side of the machine. The buttons for the Cricut Maker 3 are under the top lid, and there is no dial for materials. You will use the Design Space software to choose your material like you would from the custom settings on the Cricut Explore Air 2s. The Cricut machines are computer-controlled devices used for making creative projects like stickers and cards and cutting fabric. This video is an orientation showing you where everything is, just to get you familiar with the Cricut Maker and its tools before we get started on how to use it. We'll work from the outside in. To open the Cricut for use, lift the top lid. Doing so automatically lowers the front tray. The Cricut machines need 2 cables to work with a PC, a power cable here and a data cable here. Tablet users can use Bluetooth instead of the data cable. There are 4 buttons, all on the right side of the Maker machine: power, load or unload, start with a little arrow icon, and pause. On the inside of the machine, a carriage moves and rotates the attachments using 2 clamps. There are 2 attachment clamps, A and B. Clamp A is for Cricut attachments that don't need to be rotated, like the scoring tool and pens. Clamp B is for Cricut attachments that come with their own housing, like the fine tip blade or scoring wheel or deep cut blade. The gear behind it can help some of the attachments rotate by precise amounts when needed. On the left side of the machine, there are storage pockets for tools. The slot along the top is to hold a tablet. The bottom tray opens up for more storage. Replacement fine tip blades can be stored here as well as other parts. Let's take a closer look at the clamps. For clamp A, the clamp handle swings open, releasing the pressure, which allows you to change and remove the tools. Please note that the white tube that accessories are placed within is part of the clamp A. When clamp B opens, the attachment can be completely removed and replaced. To ensure the attachment is properly inserted, fit the top rim or ledge or gears of the attachment housing to sit on top of the ledge of clamp B. There is a roller bar in the front of the clamp, along which are 4 movable white rings to help material feed through the machine. Most materials require these rollers to be properly fed through the machine, but Some soft or delicate material like craft foam would be damaged by these rings. In this case, you will be prompted by the Cricut software to push the feeding rings to the right. While running, the Cricut moves the mat that holds materials down. The mat moves forward and backward, parallel to the surface of the countertop using the roller bar. The carriage with the clamps move left and right, raising and lowering both clamps to make contact with the material, with the tools rotating the attachment in clamp B and clockwise and counterclockwise. This lets you make a wide variety of designs on many different flat surfaces. Part 2. There are many accessories for the Cricut Maker 3, but let's go over some of the most commonly used ones. We have a collection of Cricut branded pins to use in clamp A. The clamp A accommodates a specific size of pin, so please only use Cricut branded pins in the Cricut Maker or Cricut Explorer Air 2. Next is the scoring stylus. The scoring stylus is a stylus with a pointed metal tip, which when pressed down creates crisp score lines on your project. Attachments for clamp B. The fine point blade. This is used in the majority of cutting that the Cricut does. To identify the fine point blade, look for a housing that has a plunger at the top and a smooth side with no gears. There should be a small blade barely visible at the bottom of the housing. Be careful, it's sharp. Besides the fine point blade, there are other attachments that you can put into clamp B, depending on the material you're working on or the effect you're trying to accomplish. The Cricut software will recommend a tool based on this, so your main job is to identify the tool. We have the quick swap housing with all of its different tips. These tool tips have numbers on the side which say which is which. These are easy to change out. Just depress the plunger on the top and then just pull it off. Reversing the process will allow you to put on a new tip. The knife tip blade. This blade looks a little bit like an X-Acto knife. It's good for cutting through very thick materials. Make sure this knife tip is covered using the protective cap before storage, and be careful handling it because the knife blade is very sharp. The deep cut blade. This is for cutting through thicker materials, but not so thick that you need an actual knife blade to do it. The housing is black, but otherwise it works pretty much the exact same as the fine tip blade. The bonded material fabric blade. This is very similar to the fine tip blade too. However, it's pink, and it's good for different things, like cutting through bonded fabrics. Mats. Let's talk about mats, what they are used for, and how to choose the right one for your project. The mats for the Cricut are covered with a temporary adhesive used to hold your material in place to allow for precise cutting, drawing, scoring of your project. Different mats have more or less grip or adhesion. If your material requires a lot of force to cut through, like chipboard or cardboard or wood, veneer, then it could peel off the mat if you select a mat with too light a grip. If your material is very delicate, like paper or thin fabric, pulling it off the mat could damage it. If you select a mat with too firm of a grip. As a rule of thumb, use less grip for more delicate material and more grip for more rigid materials. There are Cricut blue mats, which have light grip, Cricut green mats, which have a standard grip. This will be used for most projects. And Cricut purple mats, which have a strong grip. The pink mats for directly pink mats for directly attaching fabric. We also have non-Cricut maps, such as the yellow ones. They're labeled by the grip, so you can choose the right one. There's also a selection of different mat sizes. The majority of the mats are 12 inches by 12 inches. Some of ours are longer, 12 inches by 24. After selecting which mat size is correct for your project, ensure that there is enough clearance space in front of and behind the Cricut Maker for the mat to feed through unobstructed. For example, if using a 12 by 12 mat, ensure that there is a clearance of 12 inches both in front and in back of the machine. There's a correct way of orienting the mats to be fed into the Cricut. Ensure that the triangular hole or arrow is pointing toward the machine. There's some protective plastic that helps maintain the grip on the mats. Please remove it prior to use and replace it after you're finished. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.